Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to KHM Today, your weekly resource for industry news and straight up fun. I'm your host, Carolyn, and today is December 11th, 2024, and it is my birthday episode. It happened to be yesterday, but that's okay. We're still celebrating today, but I'm going to take this off because it's a little hot. I hope everyone's doing great. Let's start with our 8th day of learning. Okay, ready? On the 8th day of learning, KHM Travel Group gave to me new group camp. This event last year was the first time we've ever done it with our group's team, Kevin and Joanne. We had 35 agents, 7 suppliers, and our amazing team. And we were together for 4 days, and we talked all about groups. And we didn't just talk about them. They really, really worked the booking engines, and we talked contracts and all sorts of stuff. So this year it's coming back again. It will be part of Destination Success this year in July. So we're really excited about that. Okay, so I just got back from Cancun, and whereby it wasn't a birthday trip, it was our final extension of learning for our Boot Camp 1.0 folks. This year, it was a lot of fun. We stayed at the Dreams Jade, and we were hosted by Apple Leisure Group Vacations. So that was a lot of fun. We saw a variety of hotels from value to luxury. And oh my gosh, in one day, I think we saw 6 hotels, which is usually a little bit more than the norm. But we had a fantastic time, a huge experience. So just a reminder to all of you out there that are with KHM, if you attend Boot 1.0 or 2.0, you do have opportunities for these extension of learning. So if you're not signed up yet for 2025, be watching those registration links open, but all the dates for those events are in the portal, not the extensions of learning, the actual boot camp events. Okay. Moving on to today's guest, it has been a pleasure. I remember exactly where she sat in boot camp 1.0, maybe 2.5 years ago. We'll have to ask her that question. And she was newer to the industry. She loved us and the industry so much that she joined our agent support team about 1.5 years ago. And so you might call in and get her if you do, or on chat or email, here to share her thoughts on what we're going to call light in the sky travel is our own Steffany Kritz. Hello.
Hello, Carolyn. How are you?
Welcome to the show. You've got a beautiful background behind you. Where did you get that? Did Annie get that for you?
Well, absolutely. We have to rely on them to give us this fabulous background. It was at my request, of course.
I love it. Well, let's talk real quick. You joined, we were just saying, I couldn't remember what year you came to boot camp, but I know exactly where you sat. What year do you remember coming to boot camp?
Boot camp was 2021. Was my very first boot camp.
Okay, and that was probably one of the first ones that I ever did. And then you joined our agent support team about 1.5 years ago, which is amazing.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Do you love it?
Love it. Absolutely. Hands down. Love it. This by far is the best host agency ever. I, of course, did extensive research, even talking to agents now on agent support team. It is just hands down the absolute best. So I'm in the right spot, and I know the rest of our team is as well.
Well, you're in the right spot, and you helped make it that great as part of that team. So we're going to get to know you a little bit better by doing some lightning round questions. Do you mind?
I don't mind at all.
Okay, and for all those that are tuning in, don't forget to tell us that you're here by giving a little shout out in the public chat there. All right, ready? The goal is to answer them as quickly as possible. Ready?
Okay, ready.
What has been your favorite age so far?
My favorite.
Age.
Age? Ooh, 22.
What is your favorite thing to do in the wintertime?
Watch football.
Is your bed made right now?
Yes.
What item is worth spending more money on?
Travel.
What movie do you enjoy quoting the most?
Armageddon.
If you could be transformed into one animal, what would it be?
Chameleon.
Who's your favorite Disney character?
Goofy.
Finish the phrase, the way to my heart is...
Food.
What never fails to make you laugh?
Anybody else is laughing.
And if you were to write a book, what would it be about?
helping others.
Very good. Well done. And you did it pretty fast. That's wonderful. I love that you're a chameleon. I always said a dolphin.
I like dolphins as well. Dolphins would be fun.
It's just that eaten by a shark thing that scares me just a little bit.
Yeah,
Well, hello, everyone. We've got Sherry on. We've got Sadie. We've got the marketing team. Ooh, who's Dream Explorations? Tell me your name. Missy's on. Well, it's wonderful to have you guys with us. And we're going to talk about what we're calling lights in the sky travel. So, which is the northern lights and the solar eclipse. So tell me, what kind of sparked this interest in this sort of travel?
That's actually a great question. So, my husband and I really have we love outdoors, we love the country life. And so, we do a lot of stargazing. And back in like 2017 was the very first total eclipse. It was here in the northern America where we would actually be in full 100% view. So that kind of sparked it a lot when we got to be able to watch that total eclipse. So then it just became a domino effect. We ended up buying a telescope, setting our calendars for celestial events that were going on. We even now plan our travel around events that happen. We search for the lights. I originally wanted to go to Iceland, but then after researching, I found out about this solar maximum that was happening in 2025. So I was like, oh, we'll just pause on that. We'll go to Alaska, see if we can find them there. And since then, now I've seen them now 4 times. I've seen the eclipse once, and now we're going to have another total eclipse coming up in 2026. But we're not going to be able to see it here.
You said a really important word there, going to find the lights. So when you're having this conversation with clients, what sort of words do you use to explain to them and really convey the fact that, yes, your intention is to go there for this, but it might not work out?
And that is true. No matter where you go, even I remember I felt so disappointed when I planned my trip for Alaska that I was going to go. And even in the Facebook group, because we're all so eager to ask Facebook group questions, I did. And somebody replied back, why did you think that you're going to see lights there? You're not. And it just broke my heart. Like, oh my gosh, I'm not going to. But then you kind of also have to understand that that is an expectation that we have to set boundaries for our clients and let them know. We will try and do our best to set you up for the greatest, hopefully being able to capture, but there's never a guarantee. But things that we can do, like we have apps now on our phones that we can utilize, and those help let us know when these lights will be out or not. And then hopefully with a great chance that you will. But it also depends on your destination, the light pollution in the sky. So there's many factors to take into consideration.
So are there ways to book this sort of travel that are commissionable? Are there suppliers out there? Because of course, one of the things that I think is always so funny is I read a lot of travel periodicals and it talks about all these destinations and you're like, ooh, but at the end of the day, that's all wonderful. But if I can't utilize it in my business, it stops being valuable to me, as wonderful as it is. So have you found tour operators that work with you when it comes to booking this sort of travel?
Yes, actually, that's a great question. It's a twofold answer. If anyone wants to book these total eclipse cruises, there are over 14 cruise lines that are now offering cruises specifically to see the total eclipse in its total pathway. So not even just a partial, but you have to get in within that pathway of it. Carnival, by the way, has already sold out. This is a huge thing. I've now even gone back to the different cruise lines, and there are so many that are sold out of certain classes or categories, but they're offering 10 days, 7 days, 14 days, 21 days. And I even have a whole list of all of them. If anyone needs them, I'll share.
Awesome. Okay. So can you tell us the difference between like the northern lights and the solar eclipse? Because I think there's some people out there that don't necessarily know the difference.
Yes, that's actually a great question. So the difference is the total eclipse is when the moon is going to pass in between Earth and the sun. So it blocks the sun's view. So therefore, it then creates that total darkness. That's completely different. And the reason that does happen is because the moon is actually, or the sun is 400 times further away than the moon, but yet the moon is 400 times smaller than the sun. So when they reach that exact pathway when they're orbiting, that is why the moon is able to completely fill that circle of the total eclipse. However, the northern lights completely different. That is completely different. That's actually, not to get technical, but iron in our core mantle gets heated and it gets really hot. Well, it then creates this magnetic field in our atmosphere. The sun then has a bunch of particles that come this way. They then produce electrons. And then when they actually are able to get through the earth, which is normally at the northern and southern poles of our earth, which is why typically you would go into the northern areas to see it, it then creates the northern lights because it has to produce that energy somewhere, because it's not able to produce it in the atmosphere. It produces it down below once they react. So completely total different things.
Anyone else feeling like you should be a science teacher? It's not too late.
I like being a teacher, but maybe not science, but I love this passion. So I'll help anybody else out. Not to get all technical, but that's what it is.
That's awesome. Now, you mentioned earlier that you won't be able to see the next solar eclipse. You said from here. Are you meaning from Ohio?
Correct. So if you want to see a total eclipse where the moon actually covers the entire sun, you have to be in its pathway of where it's going to be. You are able to still see it in different areas. However, you're not going to see a total. You may only see partially of it. So just like back last year where we were able to actually see it here in North America, it was in total pathway. And I went up to Cleveland specifically just to see this. By the way, wanted to show you real fast, have to. My husband even bought me a fun shirt for the event.
What did it say?
Survived.
Oh.
But had I stayed at my home, which I live about an hour and a half south of where Cleveland was, I would not have seen it in totality.
Okay.
And it's because of how its shadows reflects from it, but I wouldn't have been able to see it. So we will not see one here in North America in Cleveland again, like we did for probably another 400 years. So if you want to see them, you have to travel to find it. Yes.
We had it, not this past one, but the one before that. We had it in Denver because we were out on the school parking lot with the glasses and the whole 9 yards. And it was fun. It really was fun. I don't know that I would travel much further than that, but it was fun.
Absolutely.
So what's your next trip?
Iceland.
You are doing it. Okay.
Yes. Yep. That's coming up end of September. Specifically chosen so that I can chase these northern lights, of course, but because we are in the solar maximum period, which some of our viewers may not know, but that's actually when the sun recycles its energy and really pushes a lot of those electrons and stuff that I was telling you about earlier. So it's going to be more vibrant. It's going to happen more often. So it increases your chances of seeing it. And we have in agent support department seen an influx and clients wanting to travel to see these northern lights because they know that it's in solar maximum. So that's why I'm going in end of September.
So when you say you're going up there in September, are you doing, because I've booked this before for clients where we just kind of booked that Northern Lights tour, but it's just one night. Are you booking like multiple times? Are you staying somewhere outside of Reykjavik? Like, what does your trip look like?
So we are actually going to do a private tour, a 10-day ring road tour that even goes into the peninsula, because I really would like to learn so much about Iceland, because later down the road, my passion is photography. My passion is astronomy. So to be able to take groups over there as well would just be absolutely spectacular. That's why I wanted to do it that way. And we have several suppliers that we can use that, like you had mentioned, we can go into Reykjavik. They could pick up a tour into the Golden Circle or even do a Northern Light tour of whatever choice that they would like to. So that certainly is an option, but we're all in, and I'm doing the 10-day and bringing like 6 of my family, and some others want to come. So we'll see how big this group turns into.
Very fun. I did see that a lot of the suppliers will give you well, if you don't see the lights one day, you can come back and for free and do it again.
Yes.
You just, if there's space available. So I did see that there are a lot of suppliers out there that kind of have that disclaimer. I think you have to watch it during that time frame because there might not be space available for you to go again. So booking what you've done sounds amazing.
Thank you.
Okay. Side of okay, so here's one more question before I move on to the next thing. When you think about the weather, right? We've got all these apps to tell us that things are going on. What sort of disclaimers do you send to clients, or do you even think about for yourself in this group to say, look, it's weather dependent, all of these things? Like, what if someone was to come to you and say, well, we know the weather's going to be crummy now, so I don't want to go? What sort of disclaimer do you have that's sitting out there that says you don't get your money back because we know in advance we're not going to see this stuff?
Absolutely. Travel insurance, travel insurance, travel insurance.
Insurance doesn't cover you not seeing the northern lights.
And there are going to be, when you are planning things like this, it is very critical that you are very upfront and transparent with your clients. That
And do you
absolutely
have certain bullet points that you
Yep. And that
include?
for me, when I send out my terms and conditions, that's going to be one of those things, along with all of our suppliers put that in there too. So it's almost like a double checks and balance. They're going to put it in there that we cannot guarantee you're going to see the lights. We cannot guarantee you that you're going to see this total eclipse, although you will, because I mean, you're going to be on a ship, you're going to be in the middle of the ocean, being able to see it in its totality. So for that one, not so much. We know that event is going to happen. But with the northern lights, yes, we need some disclosure in there. And the suppliers put it, and then I put it too, that says,
okay,
you can't promise it, but we hope.
Yeah. So you hope to do this over the years. Keep doing them.
Yes.
That's awesome. Well, thank you for being here today.
Well, thank you for having me.
You know, when you think about candles on a cake, lights in the sky, it's kind of the same.
Absolutely.
I hope I don't have as many
I
lights
love
in
the
the
twinkles.
sky.
I love the sparkle, and it all changes. So yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, thank you so much for being here. We're so happy that you're not only an agent, but you're also part of the agent support team. So I just appreciate you so much. Be a part of my birthday show.
I will. Thank you. Thanks for having me. And thank you, everybody, for listening.
Bye. Look at everyone that's on. Cammie's on today. Sue's on today. Wow, you guys, you turned up. You turned up. Excellent. All right, you guys, that's our show. Quick and easy today. We wanted to make it fun. All right, so next week, what's happening? Next week is our last show of 2024. Do you even believe it? And as a reminder, we are changing formats, but we'll be back the first week of January once the office is back open. Next week, we're off. Let's start that over. Next week, we have Teresa Reed from Viking. And you guys, I have known Bridget Kester for many, many years in this industry, and she went on the first ever Hallmark cruise. So we're going to chat about her experience there, what she learned, what she liked, what could be improved. And it's just going to be a really fun conversation. So in a great way to finish off the year. So thanks all so much for joining me today. Thank you for all the wonderful birthday wishes. It made me feel so loved and appreciated. And I'll see you guys next week. Have a great rest of your day.